been a beautiful night, and I appreciate all the stories shared. These are finger symbols I use when I facilitate. When Nick asked, how do you get a room full of people to pay back attention? Well, they have a Pavlovian response. It's also quite soothing, I find. The vibrations are really grounding and centering and help me connect back in with my body. So I thought that would be something fun to share with you this evening. It's almost exactly a year ago today that I received the news that I had multiple suspicious masses on my mammogram. I remember sitting in my car and I thought that somebody had played whack-a-mole with my heart. I was filled with dread. It just washed over me. And I went down the way of what-if worries. And I was sitting outside of my house and thinking, I have to go inside and be a mom and act like everything's fine. So I did my best at that. I went inside, I took care of my daughter. We did bedtime. She fell asleep. I laid in bed, my eyes wide open, going down the way of what-if worries. And I did what I thought was my superpower. Worst case scenario planning. Okay, I just started, okay, well, if this, then that, and if that, then the other thing, and I just kept going and going and going, and I couldn't get out of this cycle. And all the while I kept thinking, I can't handle this. I can't deal with this. I can't do cancer. I just can't handle any of this. And I woke up the next morning and I was just reflecting on my day. I start my mornings with a meditation practice and journaling. And I had this feeling of deja vu. You see, this wasn't my first cancer scare. This was my third cancer scare. And if there's any benefit to having more than one cancer scare, it's that you start to see patterns. And that's what I was able to start to recognize for myself, was that the whack-a-mole of the heart led to these feelings of dread, led to these thoughts of, I can't do this, I can't handle this, led to what-if worries, led to worst-case scenario planning, and it just went in a loop, on and on and on and on again, and I was going to have to wait at least weeks to get answers. And I couldn't live with myself like this. So I reached out to my friend and mentor, Monique, who happens to have this great podcast called In Your Right Mind. We were in a class together that she was leading, and I said to her that I realized my whole little loop I was in is what Brene Brown calls dress rehearsing tragedy. And I reached out to Monique and I said, Monique, I can't stop dress rehearsing tragedy. What do I do? Help me out. I can't go weeks like this. And she got back to me and she said, you know what the thing about dress rehearsing tragedy is, Ariana? It's a story. And you can change the story. You can dress rehearse positivity. You can tell yourself, you've got this. Whatever is going on in your body, we don't know what it is yet, but whatever it is, you can handle this. You've got what it takes, and you've done hard things before, and you've got this. You can do it because you can. I know you can. And I was like, I can do that? I can dress rehearse positivity. I don't need to worst case scenario plan, which was like one of those productive things I was doing, you know, so not helpful. And so that's what I started to do. I started to dress rehearse positivity. When I felt the whack-a-mole and the dread and the thoughts, and I changed the thoughts. And I dress rehearse positivity. And weeks turned into months of seeking answers. And when I finally did get an answer, I realized that there's a fine line between dress rehearsing positivity and toxic positivity. Because I had the best cancer there is to have. If you're gonna get cancer, this is the one you want. And what I realized was I had to let myself feel the anger, the frustration, the overwhelm, the confusion. I couldn't bypass it. I couldn't stuff it down. And the thing that enabled me to allow those feelings and to stay in a healthy place of dress rehearsing positivity was the voice of compassion. For most of my life, I've had a mean, shit-talking inner critic. Case in point with the, I can't handle this, I don't know what I'm doing, I can't get right. I just was always so quick to shit talk on myself. And even as doctor's appointments racked up, doctor's appointment after doctor's appointment, my inner critic would come in and be like, well, you know, there's still 4 hours left in the workday. You should be able to get something done. Yeah, that was not what I needed. What I needed was the voice of compassion. And the voice of compassion started in my journaling practice over 4 years ago. I was writing one day, and all of a sudden I just started writing to myself in the third person. In this very comforting, soothing, loving way, the way that we all want our mothers to talk to us, and some of us did get that. Some of us got that some of the time. I got it some of the time, but definitely not all the time. And that's the way the voice of compassion spoke to me. And so what I did for years in my journaling practice was I invoked the voice of compassion. And I invoked the voice of compassion by starting out writing, "Oh, sweetie." Because when my daughter was about 2, 3 years old, and if I started, like seeming upset about something, she'd go, "Oh, sweetie." And I'm like, where is this "oh, sweetie" coming from? And then she tripped one day and scraped her knee, and I picked her up and I said, "Oh, sweetie." And I was like, oh! That's my voice of compassion. The voice of compassion says, "Oh, sweetie." And so that's how she starts. She says, "Oh, sweetie, this is a really hard situation. This is overwhelming and difficult, and it's okay to feel that way. You deserve to take care of yourself, to listen to your body, and to rest, because that is what you need to do to get through this. And you can and will get through this." So the voice of compassion and dress rehearsing positivity helped me so much as I went through the process of figuring out my treatment plan, which was complicated because my images were in black and white and color only. Like it was like, we see a lot of stuff. We're not sure what's benign, what's malignant. So it was a really confusing and overwhelming journey. And the voice of compassion gave me guidance on how to heal through my treatment. And once I got to the end of like my 8 weeks of I should be healed now, the inner critic was like, "All right, let's get back to the show. Come on, get this show on the road, get this program going." And what I learned from this experience is that every day I need to dress rehearse positivity. And every day I need to invoke the voice of compassion. And I invite you to consider what that would look like for you and in your life. Thank you.